Hey y'all, today I'm sharing 6 of my very favorite party dips. So what you're going to need to do is cook up some bacon. Now you can cook a whole pack of bacon, just like a regular size pack, and just split it in half because you're going to need half for the inside of the dip, for the mixture, the dip itself, and then you're going to need half to put on top. So you can use however much bacon you like to use. I used about 8 pieces for the top and 8 pieces for the inside. So about 16 pieces of bacon is what I use. Now you can use what you want. And if you don't have regular bacon, you can definitely use like the real bacon bits to go in here. You could also do turkey bacon if you don't do regular bacon. You can do these recipes. This one especially is really good because you can pretty much follow the recipe, but change out the ingredients to fit however you like to eat, whatever your lifestyle is, if you're a lower fat, or whatever. Now, my nephew and his fiance follow keto. So they were coming to this little family gathering I was having. And so I wanted to try to make some recipes that they would enjoy, that they'd be able to enjoy also. Because I hate to, have a get together when some of the people that come can't eat half the food that you make. You know what I'm saying? And I made this easy on myself instead of doing, potato salad and baked beans, like the typical barbecue things. We just did very, very simple hamburgers, hot dogs, and then I did like some chips and dip. But I didn't want to do just like chips with salsa or cheese dip or bean dip or, I wanted to make something a little bit different, but something, like I said, that everybody can enjoy. So getting back to the dip, what you're going to need is 8 ounces of softened cream cheese, and you definitely want that to be soft because we're mixing this by hand. And then we're going to add to that about a half a cup of sour cream. Now you can use low-fat sour cream. You could substitute out non-fat Greek yogurt if you want to, however you want to do it. Then we're going to add about a half of a cup of shredded cheese, and I had bought this like gigantic bag at Sam's, and I split it up into several different bags. And this was the last of what I had, and it looked close enough to a half cup to me, so I just dumped it in there, and it's just like the Colby Jack. Then we're going to need to add a little bit of seasoning to it. So you're going to add in a half a teaspoon each of onion, garlic, and paprika, and then about a quarter of a teaspoon of salt. And I didn't measure the salt, I just kind of threw in there what looked close to me. But this is all the little seasons that you need for this. And when I tell y'all, this tastes just like a darn BLT. And to go with it or to dip into it, I made the La Banderita, the low carb tortillas. I cut those up and I seasoned them and air fried them. And that's what we used to go in this dip. So it was a low carb, keto friendly, whatever you want to call it, but it didn't taste low carb, didn't taste diet anything. You know what I'm saying? It was really, really good. So then you're going to add your bacon that you chopped up right over in there. And then we're going to let this mix until everything is really good and combined. And, I was making this the day before, and I wanted to try to find some things I could make the day before that I could just, take a little stress off myself the morning of and just have stuff ready. You know what I mean? So once you get everything good and mixed up, you're going to go ahead and just pour this over into this is an 8x8 pan. Now you could definitely double this if you wanted to, and make it in a big 9x13 pan, depending on how many people you had to feed. But this is what worked for us because, like I said, we had other things also, and I wanted to, just make something a little bit different. You get tired of making the same old stuff for every get together or party or whatever. So when I found this, I was like, that looks interesting. I hope it tastes good. And it did not disappoint y'all because this stuff was so good. There was none left. Like, I got so many compliments on this dip and so many people asked me for the recipe. So, me, I just told them, subscribe to my YouTube channel. Go over there and video will be posted next week. But all kidding aside, this turns out delicious. So I got it all made up, covered it with foil, stuck it in the fridge. Now this is the next morning. I got up and I chopped up about 1.5 cups of lettuce. But I didn't measure it, y'all. I just grabbed it up, and when I'm putting it in here, it looks roughly like about 1.5 cups to me. But you can definitely use more or less, or, however much your bunch likes. So then I went ahead and sprinkled a little bit of chopped tomato on there. And y'all, the funniest thing about this tomato, now my daughter is a grown woman that is married and has children, but we were all kind of hanging out the night before and just joking around and playing around. And she decided, you know what? I wonder if I could juggle. And this thing got my doggone tomatoes out of the refrigerator and was in my living room floor juggling my tomatoes. So, needless to say, not a lot of tomatoes survived, but enough for this dip. But y'all, it was hilarious. You don't never know what's going to go on around here, and she's probably going to kill me when she hears this in this video, but I love you. So then you're going to go ahead, y'all, and sprinkle the rest of your bacon on there. Like I said, about 8 pieces. Fry it up crispy and just crumble it up and sprinkle it right on top of your dip. And that is all there is to this dip, y'all. It is super, super simple, but this is probably one of the best dips I've ever eaten. But look how gorgeous this looks. And like I said, the taste, whew, honey, it was fantastic. Today, we're making pepperoni pizza dip. So what you're gonna need is 2 blocks of softened cream cheese, and make sure that they're good and soft because, again, we're gonna be mixing by hand. Now, you definitely could use your mixer if you wanted to, but I just didn't see the sense in pulling out another dish to wash and, trying to make it easy on yourself. So make sure you set your cream cheese out. Let it get soft. I know I'm notorious for not sitting it out and forgetting about that, but I actually did remember this time. So just let your cream cheese get soft, and we're going to need 2 blocks of that. Put that right over into your bowl. Now, this is another dip that I made for our little family get-together that we had over the weekend, and as I mentioned before in the other video, I have a nephew that follows keto, so I wanted to make sure that I had some things that he and his fiance could eat, so they're not left out. I don't like leaving anybody out of stuff, y'all. So, make stuff that everybody likes, because even the people who don't follow keto were in love with this dip. Every single person. I'm just telling y'all, this is a good one. You're going to have to make it. So you're going to need about 1 cup of chopped pepperoni, and then you're going to need some more for the top. So you can use, this is just regular pepperoni, whatever the Hormel brand, I guess. You can use whatever brands you want. You could also use turkey pepperoni if you prefer turkey pepperoni. That would definitely work in here. And then the little mini pepperonis would also be real good in here. So whatever you have or whatever you can get your hands on will work just fine. I also almost browned up some ground beef to mix in with this, but at the last minute I decided not to. I decided I would just keep this simple and just make it pepperoni pizza dip. But you could definitely make this like a supreme pizza dip and do like mushrooms, bell peppers, onions, sausage. You could really make this any way you wanted to. So once we get our pepperoni in there, we're going to go ahead and add in about 1 teaspoon of Italian seasoning. And then we're going to add about 1/2 teaspoon of garlic powder. And this is all the seasons we're going to put in here. We're putting a lot of cheese, so you're not going to need, and with the cheese combined with the pepperoni, you're not going to need to add salt to this. We didn't add any salt. Literally, that's the only seasonings I put in there, and it's all it needed. Y'all, this stuff was so good. But anyway, now you're going to add in there your cheeses. You need 1/4 cup of Parmesan and about 2 cups of shredded mozzarella. But you're also going to need another cup of mozzarella for the top. Okay, we're just going to mix 2 cups in and then have another cup for the top. Then we're going to add in about 1/2 cup of cottage cheese. And don't let that freak you out. If you're like, oh, I don't like cottage cheese, I don't like the texture, I don't like this. It's all going to be mixed in and it's going to be baked. You're never even going to know that there's cottage cheese in there. It's just going to make this dip a little bit cheesier, a little bit creamier, okay? So once you get everything added in your bowl, go ahead and mix it up real good until everything is nice and combined, okay? And like I said, you really could add anything you want to this. Now, this again is a dip that I made the night before. I put the whole thing together the night before, and then I baked it the next day to save myself some trouble. But if you're going to bake it the same day, you can absolutely do that. It's just an option of something that you can make ahead, okay? So we're going to go ahead and put this in an 8x8 pan, and I sprayed it with some cooking spray, and that way when we do bake it, you know, the next day or whatever, or the day of, if you do that, your cheese won't stick too bad to your pan. And I ended up serving this with, what are they called? Like the crostinis, you know, like the little toasted, like, oh shoot, why can I not think of what the bread's called? Y'all know, like garlic, shoot, you know what I'm talking about. What garlic bread comes on. Why can I not think of it, y'all? I'm going to think of it as soon as I stop talking. But anyway, that's what we served it with. So you can either buy it already fixed up in like the bakery section of your store. I got it at Walmart. Or you can slice French bread. That's what it is, French bread. You can slice it up yourself and just toast it in the oven. And that, like I said, that's what we served it with. Except for my nephew, I had made him some low-carb tortillas. I cut those and seasoned them and air-fried them and made chips out of them. And so that's what he and his fiance had with our pizza dip. But y'all, let me tell you, this stuff was so good. I was like, I can't even believe it's this good. It's like if you order your favorite takeout pizza and you just pull the topping off of it and you don't eat the crust. That's exactly what this tastes like. So you have to make it. And don't worry about me scraping all that down with my hand. I promise y'all, my hands were clean. So just spread this out in your pan about as even as you can get it. It's dip. It does not have to be perfect. We're not entering any kind of contest of looks on this dip, right? Even though it does look pretty dang good when we finish it. So then you're going to add about, I added maybe a 3/4 of a cup, maybe a cup of pizza sauce to this. You could actually use spaghetti sauce, or you can season you up some tomato sauce. Whatever way you like to make your pizza sauce, you can use, you know, do it that way. I think the original recipe, which I think I found it on TikTok and I just kind of wrote it down. So I'm sorry if I can't link to who where the original recipe came from, because I don't remember, y'all. But I think it called for a whole lot more sauce, but this was plenty to me. So once you get your sauce on, you're going to go ahead and add that last cup of mozzarella cheese and just sprinkle it right on top. Obviously, you see, I'm not measuring. Well, I'm measuring with my heart, y'all. I'm measuring with my heart. But just a layer of mozzarella cheese, however much you want. If you want more, use more. If you want a little less, use a little less. Then we're going to go ahead and put on a layer of pepperoni. And I just covered it, just a whole layer of pepperoni. And that's all there is to this. And like I said, if you wanted to add like vegetables and stuff, you could either like mix them into your dip, or you can sprinkle them on top up here with your pepperoni. Whatever way you want to do it would be just fine. And I know it would absolutely be delicious. But I covered this, put it in the refrigerator overnight, and then the next morning when I got up, I let it sit out. I uncovered it, let it sit out for maybe 30 minutes on the counter just so it wouldn't screaming cold when it went in the oven. You're going to bake this for about 45 minutes on 375, and that is all there is to it. Y'all, this is so ooey gooey and cheesy and delicious, and let me tell you, there was none left. Everybody loved it. It was a huge hit. So you got to make it. You got to make it. Now, I know it doesn't look very diet friendly, and honey, if you're lactose intolerant, this may not be the dip for you. You know what I'm saying? But otherwise, maybe take a Lactaid and eat it anyway, because it's fantastic. Okay, so start out by going ahead and getting your oven preheated to 350, okay? This is pretty easy. It's going to come together pretty quick. It seems like a lot of ingredients, but it's probably stuff you already have in your pantry anyway. And if not, you won't have to get but one or two things. And it's delicious. It makes a ton, and everybody loves it. So you're going to go ahead and get an onion diced up. Now, if you're not a huge onion fan, you could cut this back to half an onion if you wanted to. This is going to make a huge 9x13 pan. So you can also adjust this if you need to make a smaller amount or a larger amount, okay? So go ahead and just get your onion diced up. And if you wanted to, I'm going to put the onion in raw to cook, and it does cook down because we're going to cook it in the oven. But if you want to, you could certainly cook your onion, like cook it in with your meat if you wanted to do it that way. So, but either way, it'll work. And I found this recipe on Catherine's Plates, and I just kind of took hers as inspiration and kind of changed up the ingredients to what suited me and my family. So you can definitely make this the way that you want it. Make it your own. So once your onion is diced up, go ahead and brown up about 1 pound of ground beef. You could also substitute sausage. You can use ground turkey, whatever kind of meat that you like, you can put it in here, okay? So go ahead and get that all browned up, and then you're going to want to get it drained really, really good, because we don't want a greasy cheese dip. You know what I'm saying? Like sometimes people don't drain their meat and they're like, oh, it's where all the flavor is. Please don't do that in this dip. You're going to have greasy dip, and nobody wants greasy cheese dip, okay? So anywho, once your meat is browned and drained, go ahead and add this. Like I said, this is a 9x13 pan. This makes a lot of dip, but it's really good leftover. I know a lot of cheese dips don't heat up very well when they're leftover. This one does. It's really, really good. So make as much as you want, and you can eat on it for a while. So anyway, add your ground beef, add your onion over in there, and then we're going to add 1 block of cream cheese and some Velveeta. Now this is a 16-ounce block of Velveeta. You're only going to need half of this one, okay? So we're going to need 8 ounces of cream cheese, 8 ounces of Velveeta. And that's the small block of Velveeta, but still you're only going to need half of that, okay? Unless you're doubling the recipe, and then you need the whole thing. Again, do it how you want to. But y'all let me know, have y'all ever made this before? If you have, what did you put in yours? Because, you could put anything. You could add jalapenos. You could add in bell pepper. You could add so many things in here if you wanted to, or you can just make it super simple. But let me know if y'all have anything different that you put in yours that I might need to try in mine next time. So anyway, you're going to add your cheeses in, and then we're going to add in 2 cans of diced tomatoes. I did not drain those well enough, just FYI, but it turns out fine. It ends up mixing in, but make sure that you drain your tomatoes, because you don't want a lot of extra liquid in here to make a soupy dip. We want it nice and creamy. So then I added in a tablespoon of minced garlic, and that's just out of the jar, the jarlic, if you will. And then 1/4 cup of milk. And then I added in a couple of handfuls of shredded cheese. Now I used the cheddar and Monterey Jack mix. You can use plain cheddar, you can use Mexican blend, you can use pepper jack if you like it spicy, whatever you want to do. Whatever you want to do. And like I said, you could add bell pepper, jalapenos, whatever you want to add in here, it'll be just fine. If you like it spicy, add the hot tomatoes if you want to. But anyway, then once you get your cheese added in, and I just, like I said, I didn't measure it, about 8 ounces, I think is what her recipe called for. I just threw a couple of handfuls in there. Then I added about a package worth of taco seasoning right over the top. Now you don't have to mix this, but I mixed in, tried to get the shredded cheese kind of mixed in so that it wouldn't get crispy like on the edges of the pan. I wanted it to be melty and not crispy. So that's really the reason I was kind of mixing a little bit of that in. But it's certainly, you don't have to. So then you're going to bake that 350 for about 30 to 45 minutes. Or until all of your cheese is melted. Everybody's oven cooks a little bit different, so do it at least 30 minutes. If for some reason you pull it out of the oven and your cheeses are not melted yet, just pop it back in there for a few minutes. So then you're just going to mix it all up, and you can see I had a little bit of excess liquid in mine, but it ended up, by the time I mixed everything, got everything mixed together good, it kind of soaked back in there. If you end up with too much liquid in here, you can take just a couple of paper towels or something and just kind of soak up that excess liquid, and it'll be just fine. But like I said, the little amount I had, it mixed right into the dip, and it was fine. But y'all, this is it. It is so good. And like I said, it's super easy to throw together. It seems like it has a lot of ingredients, but it's super, super simple. It takes no time at all to throw together. And then, you just walk away from it while it cooks. And I just ended up, like I said, my kids and grandkids were over here, and we were just kind of hanging out and, playing games and stuff. And so I took a couple of these little or smaller little containers, little serving dishes, and I just filled them up and put them in the middle of the table, and it didn't last long, y'all. The kids, the grandkids, everybody loved this dip. And like I said, it reheats really well too, so you really can't make too much, if you know what I'm saying. You see what I'm saying? But anyway, that's it, y'all. It's super, super good. It's like an elevated version of the stuff we ate as kids, I feel like. So the first one we're going to make is spinach and artichoke dip. Go ahead and preheat your oven to 350. Then you're going to need 1 block of softened cream cheese. And make sure that you set it out and let it get soft, y'all, because you got to stir this by hand. And cream cheese is hard enough to stir even if it's soft. So just make sure that it's soft. Then you're going to add in 1/4 cup of sour cream, and I had light sour cream. You can use whatever kind you want, and I know in a lot of recipes you can substitute Greek yogurt and sour cream like interchangeably. So I have not tried it with Greek yogurt, but if you try it, let me know how it comes out. So then we're going to add 1/4 cup of mayonnaise, and don't judge me on my mayonnaise brand, because growing up that was my daughter's favorite, so that's what I've always bought. And I don't really eat mayonnaise. I'll cook with it sometimes, so it is what it is. Anyway, now that we've gotten that out of the way, 1/4 cup of mayonnaise, 1/4 cup of sour cream. Then you're going to add about 1/4 cup of grated Parmesan cheese. Now, obviously, you see I did not measure that, but feel free to measure yours if you want to. Then I added in a little less than a tablespoon of garlic, because I love garlic, but then I thought I don't want it to be overwhelmingly garlic. So a little less than a tablespoon. Then you're going to need a can of artichoke or a jar of artichoke hearts, and 10 ounces of frozen spinach. Now for my artichoke hearts, I drained them and then I chopped them up so you would have little bite-sized pieces, because you don't want the whole huge thing when you bite into a dip, right? Then for my spinach, I let it thaw out, and then I put it in a real fine strainer, and I just smushed it until I got all the liquid that I could out of it, because you don't want this to be runny, and frozen spinach is very, very watery, so make sure that you squeeze as much of the water out of there as you can. Okay, then you're going to add about 1 cup of mozzarella cheese. Don't that look about like a cup to y'all? Looked about like a cup to me. But again, what do I always say? You can't have too much cheese. So feel free to measure it. I'm going to put measurements down in the description box, but I'm telling y'all, but do as I say, not as I do, because y'all know I kind of go off the rails sometimes. So then we're going to I just used a pie plate. You can use about like an 8x8 pan would be perfect for this. So I just sprayed it real good, because we got a lot of cheese in here, so we don't want it to stick. So spray your pan real good, and then we're going to put our mixture right over into our pan. Then all you're going to need to do is just kind of smooth it out to where you get a pretty even layer, because you don't want it to end up, with cold spots in your dip if it's uneven. Does that make sense? Hopefully it does. So just smooth it out good, and then you're going to sprinkle just a tiny bit more Parmesan and mozzarella right over the top. And like I said, with cheese, y'all, especially when you're topping something with cheese, just do however much you want. You can see I didn't do a whole lot, because we already had a lot of cheese in it, but I wanted to have just a little bit, because I wanted it, to be nice and brown when I baked it. So you're going to put this in the oven, 350, for about 30 minutes, or until all your cheese is good and melted. And this is what it looks like when it comes out. Now, like I said, I like mine with a little color on my cheese. If you don't have to cook it as long. We're just pretty much warming this through and melting the cheese. Okay, so the next dip that we're going to make is crack chicken dip. So what I did was I took 2 chicken breasts. You're going to need about 2 cups of cooked chicken. So you can use a rotisserie chicken, whatever kind you have will work just fine. I just took 2 chicken breasts out of the freezer, seasoned them up, boiled them, and then I, kind of shredded them a little bit to get all the little pieces of fat and gristle and all that off of them. And then I chopped them up, because you don't want big hunks of chicken in this dip, because it is a dip. You're using chips, and you don't want half a chicken breast when you dip 1 chip into it. And y'all, I don't know how in the world I managed to do it, but I did season all of these dips with garlic, onion, salt, and pepper, but I didn't show any of that. So just season to taste. It's not any kind of measurement on that. Just season it, to however you like it. Okay, so 2 cups of chopped chicken. Then we're going to add in some bacon. Now, go ahead and preheat your oven to 400 for this one. So what you're going to need is about a cup of chopped bacon. I just cooked a whole pack of bacon because, who cooks half a pack of bacon? You might as well cook it all while you've got it out, right? So I cooked the whole pack, and then I just cut up what I thought I wanted in my dip. Now, like I said, the recipe is going to say 1 cup, but you just add however much bacon you want to put in there. If you want to put the whole darn pack in there, then honey, you put that whole darn pack in there, and we will not judge you, okay? All right. So then clean your mess up. I had, Lord, bacon and chicken everywhere. So, all right, now to this we're going to need an 8-ounce block of softened cream cheese. And again, make sure that it is soft or you're never going to get this mixed up. Then we're going to need 1 packet of ranch seasoning. Now, I don't have the packets usually. I have the big containers, obviously, as you can see. So I just sprinkled what looked like about a packet to me. You do however you need to do it for yours. Okay, so then we're going to add in 16 ounces of sour cream. So this is a 16-ounce container, so I'm just going to dump this whole container over in there. And again, I had the light sour cream, but you can use whatever kind of sour cream you have, whatever kind you want, okay? So then we're going to add in some cheese because you can't have a dip without cheese. So we're going to add in excuse me, y'all, 2 cups of shredded cheddar cheese. Now, if you don't have cheddar and all you have is Colby Jack, then add your Colby Jack. If you like sharp cheddar better than mild cheddar, then honey, you add your sharp cheddar right over in there. You need about 2 cups or however much you want to dump in there like I do. So just dump it in there, and then you're going to mix that up really, really well. And look, I started out with that little spoon, y'all, and I don't know what I was thinking because between the chicken and the cream cheese, it was so thick in there. It gets real thick, y'all. This dip is real thick before you bake it. So use a big enough spoon. Don't do like I did. Okay, so you're going to make sure that you spray your pan, and this is an 8x8 pan, but you can use whatever kind you want. But it fit right in this one real good. So then you're just going to spoon your mixture, and you see how thick it is, but don't worry about that. It's not going to be that thick when you get ready to eat it. Once you heat it up, of course it's gonna get a little thinner once it gets warm. You know what I'm saying? So just like with our other one, we're just going to spoon our mixture right over into our pan, and then we're going to get it evened out as good as we can. And then, of course, we're going to add a little more cheese on top because why not? Why not? So, and this dip really, y'all, is like a whole meal. It's got, with all the chicken and everything in it, it's very filling. So, just saying. And then you can just serve it with whatever kind of chips or whatever you want to. So, I just took a little handful of cheese, like I said, and just sprinkled it right over the top. And again, if you're not a huge fan of cheese, I don't know what's wrong with you. That's my question. But if you're not, then you don't have to add cheese to the top of these if you don't want to. So we're going to put that in the oven, 400 degrees for about 25 to 30 minutes. And that's it. We're just warming it through, and we're heating, letting our cheese melt. Okay, so the last dip that we're going to make today is going to be a cold dip. We're going to make a corn dip. So what you're going to need is 2 cans of Mexicorn or Mexican corn, or however it says it on your can. It's just the corn that has the little peppers and stuff. And then you're going to need 1 can of Rotel. Make sure that you drain your corn and your Rotel very, very well because you don't want this to be watery. Okay, because this is not one we're baking, so we don't want it to be super wet, okay? We don't want it to be runny. There's the word I was looking for. But you don't want a runny dip. So then we're going to add in to our corn and tomatoes, we're going to add in a 1/2 cup of mayonnaise and 1/2 cup of sour cream. And you're just going to, just, again, if you want to substitute Greek yogurt, I'm sure it will be just fine. Do whatever your little heart desires. So then I chopped up 1 bunch of green onions. Just chop them up into little small pieces. Y'all, I love a green onion. And these had a little bite to them, so I wasn't mad at it. Okay, so then we're going to add our cheese because, again, what is a dip without cheese? So we're going to add in 3 cups of shredded cheddar cheese. And again, if you have a different kind of cheese, you know, that you need to use up, just feel free to use it up if you want to. But again, I don't think I would use mozzarella in this. But if you have a Colby Jack or something like that, sharp, mild, medium, whatever, it'll work just fine. So you're going to mix this up real good, and then, you know, add a little bit more cheese, you know, because what do I always say? I probably done said it 20 times in this video. You can't have too much cheese. So then what we're going to do with this one, because it's a cold dip, I just covered it up, set it in the refrigerator for about an hour, and that's all you have to do. This dip is made. So I hope y'all enjoyed this video. These are 6 of my very favorite dips. Y'all, these are so good. These are good if you're doing a big New Year's party this year, if you are doing a Super Bowl party or just a regular Sunday football party. You can do these for birthday parties, any kind of get together that you want. You can kind of pick and choose. Some we bake, some are just throw together and refrigerate. All of them are super, super delicious. Everybody loves these that I have served them to. They're great left over. The ones that you bake are fantastic, just reheated in the microwave or however you reheat things. But they're delicious, so you have got to try these. If y'all have any dips that y'all love that y'all haven't seen me make yet, let me know down in the comments, because I'm always looking for a good dip recipe. Make sure y'all share the love now. All right, that is all I have for y'all today, and I will catch y'all on the next one. Bye, y'all.